You guys, I have way too much open. Let's do this again. Here we are. There we go. Okay, now we're back. So, how many of you all feel like, okay, well, number one, like we get bloated and we just are not digesting enough? Actually, without being too weird, you guys, how many of you, this is a personal question, and you can just tap the hearts if you don't want to put a one in. How many of you guys poop at least once a day? Or does it go a couple of days? Because that is a sign of an unhealthy gut. Yesterday, I got a message from somebody who was like, ooh, the pre-meal drink really makes me feel bloated and distended. Yeah, because most of us have really unhealthy guts because we're not getting in fiber. Fiber not only helps us poop, and that's what most people think of fiber on. They're like, oh, I'm fine, I don't need it. But if you're not pooping at least once a day, you're having inflammation in your gut that's building up. And that's going to cause illness throughout your body. I like to talk about your immune cells. Now, 80% of your immune cells are held in your gut. So if your gut's sick, then your immune cells are not functioning properly. And this is pretty well known in the scientific community. But something else my good friend Steph brought up last night is serotonin. One of the components we need in the brain is produced in the gut. 95% of the serotonin that our brain uses is produced in the gut. And Bobby, are you still doing the balance and doing it twice a day? Because you shouldn't have to be taking Miralax if you're getting in the balance and getting in enough water. So are you still using the balance at least twice a day? Most people, we switch the system, and I'll explain that in a little bit, but you need to be making sure you're getting in fiber. So the person who messaged me last night was in distress, and I get it. Like, I was hurting when I first started too, but I want everyone to think about this. When you start a high quality fiber in your diet, you're going to have a little bit of discomfort for the first few weeks, days, maybe a month, because most of us have not been getting in fiber. It's been stripped out of our foods. It's why we have glucose levels that are spiking so high so quickly. There's a number of things going on in our food industry that have stripped this important component out. Now look, carnivores will tell you you don't need fiber. Yeah, absolutely true. If you're not eating any carbohydrates and you're just eating steak, maybe you don't need fiber. I think science is still out on that one, and there haven't been enough studies to talk about that. What I do know is there is enough science that says we do need fiber every day. And I'm going to go over some of the reasons we need that fiber. But here's what's happening to your gut when you're not getting in enough fiber. Your gut starts to get weak. So think about, like, I used to power lift. So I talk a lot about weightlifting, but I haven't squatted really in a long while because I had been in so much pain and different things. I mean, I've done air squats, but say I go in and do a leg workout now that I haven't been working out like that for a couple of years, my legs are going to hurt. And every time I work out, my legs are going to hurt for a while until that strength is built back up in them. Your gut is very similar. When you haven't been allowing your gut to do the job it needs to, when you haven't been exercising your gut by allowing it to have this fiber, then it gets weak and it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So not only are you not pooping, you're causing inflammation in your gut because that food is just sitting in there rotting. You should be pooping at least every day. But this isn't about poop, so we're going to go on, guys. We're going to go past that right now. Let me see. There were some comments, and if I missed your comments, please restate them, and I will try to address them. Good morning, Flippin' Awesome. Maxine, Brent, welcome in. Gregory, you guys all welcome in. Minnie, Manny, Minnie and Manny right next to each other. That's kind of crazy. Ivy, Kayla. So here's the thing. Fiber is doing so much more than just poop. Let's talk about that. Number one, for me, one of the biggest things, you are taking balance twice a day. Were you getting in enough water? There could be something else going on, and maybe you just need to do a cleanse. That's possible too, Bobby. Miralax is when stuff is really stuck, right? So if there's stuckness going on, it might take a little extra to get that done. And all of us have some poop because we're not getting in fiber lingering around in our gut that's causing this inflammation. So let's dive in. Now, fiber actually helps you regulate blood sugars and blood cholesterol. Insoluble fibers do that. Soluble fibers, however, feed the gut microbiome, and that what I call off-gassing of that, or the result of the probiotics feeding on fiber, is something called short chain fatty acids. Those short chain fatty acids also cue us to have more ketones, and more ketones means we're learning to burn fat for fuel. So, two different types of fiber. There's soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Something like this is just insoluble fiber. It can reduce a blood sugar spike by about 10%. But when we do a multifaceted approach to those insoluble fibers and add in the soluble fibers, now we have a matrix that's allowing people to reduce their blood sugar by up to 37%. But it's doing a lot more than that. So this fiber, because it's containing those short chain fatty acids, and I've tested it on myself, and I think this is, I'm going to take credit for it. I think this is where a lot of what Dr. Bickman is talking about stems from, because a couple of years ago, I went up to him and said, hey, doc, I did the balance during my fast, and my ketones almost doubled. Like, what's going on there? And he explained it to me, and then pretty soon we start talking about the short chain fatty acids and the results of fiber that we weren't talking about before. So thank you. I did do a 10-day fast, and on a 10-day fast, I had either the tea or the fiber and water, and that was it. And when I noticed my ketones going up was a couple of days into the fast. I decided, hey, I'm going to try and add fiber in and see what happens, because I'm willing to play with science on myself. And that's when my ketones doubled. Now I was like, oh my gosh, if my ketones go down, I just broke my fast and I'm going to have to start all over. But my ketones actually went up, meaning when ketones are out, our body is learning to use a different form of fuel. When we're eating like we eat, in absence of these fibers, and Bobby, it just came to my mind, we should probably hop on a call and I can see if I can help. Okay. But when ketones are present, it means insulin is down. And why is that? Insulin is a hormone that comes out when we have sugar present in our bloodstream. At this point, when insulin is out, it means we're burning sugar for fuel, because insulin is taking the sugar in our system and transporting it to the cells for use as energy. But when we're doing this all the time, we start to have disorders and disease like gut health issues. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But we're also starting to build insulin resistance and diabetes when we're running on sugar all the time. So it's like too much sugar, too much insulin, insulin resistance, prediabetes, diabetes, and eventually even things like Alzheimer's. So we want to make sure that we're addressing it now, not later, not when you're in crisis. You want to start addressing it now. So two types of fiber are insoluble and soluble fibers. Insoluble just means that they cannot absorb water. Now, neither form of fiber are digestible. They count in your carbohydrates, but they're not digested that way like sugars are. So fibers actually help slow down us getting the sugar into our bloodstream. And there's a couple of ways this is happening. Number one, just by helping reduce that sugar and helping it move through. The soluble fibers help kind of encapsulate that food that we've eaten so that it slowly goes through the digestive system, slower than we're used to, so that in that small intestine where our nutrients are being absorbed, we're reducing the absorption of sugar and we're allowing the absorption of nutrients. That's important. So why do we have to have a matrix of fibers? Well, as I said, with scientific studies, we've shown that this one source fiber can reduce a blood sugar spike by about 10%. A double source fiber will reduce it. Insulin soluble fibers, or insulin, not insoluble, soluble fibers can reduce that blood sugar up to 37% with this particular product. So I'm going to drink it right now because I am experiencing some nausea. You guys, the fiber is food. It's not medicine. I mean, it's a natural medicine, right? But it's not like a medical concoction. It's fiber. So I can have it any time of day. I could have it 5 times a day. My gut is stronger now than it was when I started. So I'm not experiencing those problems. Like, actually, since I've been addressing fiber, let's talk about it a little bit, because this is just open talk, right? I will use the bathroom about an hour after I eat, every time I eat, and that's actually really healthy. My food is going through, my body's digesting it, the fibers are moving the waste part through and allowing the nutrients to be absorbed, and then I'm dumping that waste before it gets toxic in my system. That's when my gut's healthy. When it's unhealthy, you're not going to do that. Wow, I waited too long. See how thick that is? That's what's holding back from the blood sugars that you're trying to keep out of your system. All over the place this morning, guys. Sorry, we were talking about sugar. Okay. So this fiber and fasting allows us to switch from sugar burning to fat burning. Now, our brain needs both cholesterol and glucose, but there is no necessary form of glucose. Do you guys know that when we eat protein, animal protein, we actually can get glucose from that? Now, you don't have to eat like that, but I just want you to be aware that we can get some energy source out of it, although protein is predominantly a building block, right? But we need our bodies to be able to recognize between when it should burn fat and when it should burn sugar. Right now, we're overeating and we're eating foods that are lacking fibers, and our body thinks that we need sugar all the time. And let's stop a second. So, welcome in, Jenny. 1, 2, 3, Sal, Nurse Life. Look, um, we were I lost where I was because I started welcoming people in. You guys, this is why I rarely say names, because I get distracted. But talking about fiber and your gut health, how many of you guys are eating more than 3 times a day? I mean, I'm talking snacks. You have your 3 meals. Maybe you have a bag of chips in between there. Put a 1 in if you're eating more than 3 times a day. If you're waking up and having something to eat, and then you're having a mid-morning snack, and then you're having lunch, and then you're having another snack, and then you're having dinner, and then you're having something as you watch Netflix before you go to bed. How many of you guys do something similar? And you eat outside of your 3 main windows, either hearts or ones, so I can see you guys are hearing me. Can you let me know how many of you guys eat like that? That's basically what we're trained to eat. So if you're eating more than 3 times a day, and I'm saying snacking is eating, I'm not talking about meals, although they're counted in there. What science is finding is that when people are being told this fallacy of eating every 2 hours, you've heard all the people, there's somebody on live right now talking to people about calorie counting and eating every 2 hours, and that may result in some temporary weight loss, but it's going to start destroying your metabolism. Every time we eat, especially the carbohydrate-filled calories that these people talk about, we're spiking our insulin. So if we're spiking our insulin every 2 hours, we're starting to create a problem. And the worst problem is this. People think, oh, now I don't have to just eat at my meals. I can snack. And I'm told I can eat every 2 hours, and that every 2 hours becomes every hour, every 30 minutes. And what scientific studies have shown is that people who think that they're eating this 5 to 6 times a day, every 2 hours, are actually eating up to 16 times a day. So now, if you're up in a 16-hour day and you're eating 16 times a day, that means you're eating every hour. And our bodies were not built for that. Our bodies were meant to eat, digest, store, and move on. Eating is nutrition. Eating is energy for our body. We eat because we like it, because the food industry has made all this food that tastes really good. And then there's people like me who have ADD, and we are chasing dopamine all the time, even without knowing it. And good tasting food gives us dopamine. So we have problems eating, but we just shouldn't. We just shouldn't. Our bodies were meant to eat, digest, store. And we're not doing that. We're eating, digesting, storing, eating, digesting, storing. But part that I missed is now when we store, now when we have those periods between meals or when we sleep, our body has nutrients and energy to work off of. But what we've done is filled our body so full of energy all the time that we just can't burn it. And what we do when we eat like that is we continually spike the insulin. And I'm sorry, I'm thinking about this. And she's a lovely lady, but she's on right now. She's talking about her diet program, and insulin resistance is a bunch of BS. And I would love for her to have a talk with Dr. Bickman about how much BS insulin resistance is, because it's predominantly what's making us sick right now. 95% of what we're suffering with is insulin resistance related. I talk about that every day, but understand fiber is super important. Slowing down how much we eat is super important. Now, fiber, the soluble and insoluble fibers. Insoluble fibers, I said, don't soak up water. And they're long, strandy fibers. So think of celery, bananas have it in there. But insoluble fibers will be long, strandy fibers. And as they get into our system, they kind of create this mesh basket weave. And that's really good for cleaning us out, right? But soluble fibers, they soak up water and they become this gelatin mass. That's why this fiber does this. Look at how thick that is. I mixed it in a little water just a few minutes ago, and that's how thick it is. That's the soluble fibers working. So they gel up. And now, instead of this basket weave that things are leaking through, we have two fibers that are working together to create a barrier for things like sugar and fats to our system. So that's how we get, partly because it's slowing down how quickly the sugar gets into our system, but it's also slowing down how much sugar gets into our system. And now we see a 37% reduction in blood sugar spikes after eating. That's fiber. But fiber, like I started out saying, most people think of fiber as something that we use to help us poop, but it's not just that. So fiber helps with our immune function. I talked a little bit about how it helps us protect our gut, because 80% of our immune cells are held in the gut. If our gut is sick because we're not getting fiber and food's sitting in there rotting, our immune cells suffer. And we need those. And what a lot of scientists are reaching into is the fact that even autoimmune diseases can start from this inflammation caused by not getting enough fiber in our gut. So think of things like Hashimoto's. Good morning, Denise, and good morning, Christy, Melanie. I have a daughter-in-law. Is it daughter-in-law? Not really, because she's my ex's new wife's daughter. What, I don't know what to call her, but anyway, she her last name is Halcrow, and so that sounded kind of like that. All right, enough of that. But now look, when we talk about that, I talked a little bit at the beginning about immune function and serotonin. So immune function, we know that that's making us more sick. Well, before I get off of immune function, with those immune cells that are not functioning properly because the gut microbiome is screwed up, you'll get more colds, you'll get more flus, you'll get more of that other stuff that's going around, right? You will probably start to be building towards some type of immune function disorder. And so it's really important to keep that in line. Now, interesting story with, I think I can say it. I think I can say it out loud now without getting punched. I said it on one live a couple of years ago and got banned. But COVID, that flu bug that went through. Now, when I started the system about a year into the system, I was in my daughter's house helping her with her kids. The whole family got COVID because the little girl my granddaughter brought it home from daycare. So all four of them were sick, knocked out for the count. I'm in the house with them all day long, every day, but I'm doing the system. That's all I did. And I'm the only one who didn't catch that illness. I'm the only one. And I'm like, how does that happen? How am I surrounded by this? And yet I didn't get sick? Because my gut health within a year was starting to be so healthy that my immune cells were built. I rarely get sick from immune type disorders now. It's usually inflammation type disorders from um, me still cleaning up my body. All right. Fiber is important to that. But if fiber is creating an imbalance in immune cells, it's also creating an imbalance in us being able to produce serotonin. And so serotonin is doing a lot of really good things for our health. And it influences our brain through our gut. So if our gut is healthy, our brain is allowed to function better with the serotonin. But if our brain is not functioning healthy, then we're having more and more problems with brain function, the ability to relax, the ability to go to sleep, a number of issues like that. I'm looking for um, a graphic that I had. But so no, immune cells and brain health start in your gut. And that's why it's so important to get fiber in. But when we also look at that, and I talked about how it reduces insulin resistance and diabetes, but did you know that getting proper fiber in also affects your cardiovascular health? It affects your weight, it affects your digestion, and it helps reduce the risk of certain diseases like colorectal cancer and those cardiovascular diseases. Fiber actually can help your blood pressure. So, this is me. Okay. This was me when I started the system and me this last year. Okay. So I lost 55 pounds. I've kept it off. I've stayed healthy. I got rid of diabetes, hypertension, sleep apnea. I lost those 55 pounds. I got my arthritis under control. My hair loss, my hair is longer than it's ever been in my life right now. In the back, it's down past my bra line, and I'm seeing how long I can grow it. Um, it's a personal story. By the way, I'm Native and I cut my hair for too long, and this is my spiritual connection, so I cut it sparingly now. Um, all right, so my chronic fatigue is also gone. My skin takes are gone. My edema and neuropathy are gone, and my bleeding teeth and gums stopped. My migraine headaches stopped. My vertigo stopped, all because I started addressing insulin resistance and paying attention to my gut health. Um, it's important, you guys. And if you're not addressing it, you are likely feeling sick. So how many of you guys are resonating with this? Do you guys feel like this could be you? Maria, thank you for the likes and loves. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm here talking about it every single day because I want people to start having better answers. Look, I get questioned about my credentials all the time. You guys, my credentials are this. My credentials are that I'm a real person just like you guys. I was really sick, just like many of you are. I felt really hopeless because none of the doctors that I actually worked in doctors' offices. I was the one who brought you back to the room, took your vitals, took all the stuff, took the directions from the doctor, passed them on to you. All that stuff is what I did. Now, none of the doctors that I worked with or worked for were able to help me with any of these issues, including weight loss. I worked in a hormone clinic and I was counseling people on weight loss all the time. At the time, I was working out 3 hours a day, 6 days a week to become a world champion. And so I was a little bit leaner, but I was still struggling and unable to lose weight. And it was really hard for me to go in and talk to people in her clinic about HGH and reducing their calorie load to 500. And because I knew that that wasn't probably the best way, but that's what she was passing off, right? We'll talk about a little bit about that if we want to later. But no doctors helped me. They just couldn't figure it out. I went to a nutritionist. They couldn't figure it out. I had a gym guy who trains IFBB pro bodybuilders, and he was like, I got you. We got this. We're going to figure it out. Yeah, I know. Your doctor didn't help you. Yeah, I know. The nutritionist didn't help you. But look, I'm really good at this, and I'm going to help you. And I'm not bashing him because he's an amazing guy. He wrote my programming for my workouts. He wrote my programming for my diet. And good morning, Nelda. I saw you come in. Thank you. Thank you. And good morning, Amanda. But after 3 months, strictly following his plan, nothing changed. I wasn't losing weight. I wasn't feeling better. So I went back into his office and I'm like, hey, look, now what? Like, I'm doing this. What do we need to adjust? I really put my faith in him. I said, what do we need to adjust? What do we need to do? He's looking at my logs. He's looking at all the stuff and he goes, I don't know. I've never had anyone like you. I don't know how to address this. I'm really sorry, but I can't help you. Then my doctor, we had run saliva tests. We ran 24-hour urine tests. We did blood work. We did all of these things. And finally, at the end of it, when we're looking at all of my hormones being in crazy disarray and me having weight problems and me having fatigue problems and me having heart problems and all this stuff, we ran a metabolic test. So took saliva samples again, sent them in, and she calls me in the office when my test came back. I saw them. I knew what she was going to say. Sort of. I actually thought maybe she'd have an answer. Doctor working in hormones and metabolism called me in and said, You have the worst metabolic type that I could have imagined coming in. So there is a genetic piece for me. But she said, there's nothing I can do to help you. You're always going to be fat. You're always going to be sick. And you're always going to be suffering. And I don't know how I can help. And I'm so sorry. This is not the answer I wanted to give you, but that's the answer you got. Wow. Wow. So I stumbled on the same program that I still use today. 3 years ago, I was like desperate. I thought, nobody else helped me. I'm going to do this. I started the system. I reversed my diabetes. I reversed my hypertension. I don't have migraine headaches. I was on pain medications. I cycled between hydrocodone, Norco, gabapentin for muscle relaxers, and NSAIDs over the counter. I had almost every kind of NSAID in my drawer that you could think of. And I'm taking those things every 4 to 6 hours because I was in so much pain. And fiber, getting my gut healthy, is part of what helped. That's all I changed, was a tea in the morning and a pre-meal drink before I eat. And everything started to change. Inflammation flew off my body. I got rid of skin takes. I got rid of that joint pain. In fact, a knee that was supposed to be replaced a year ago, or not a year ago, I say that because I was saying that. So my knee was supposed to be replaced in 2022. Guess what? Because I got my gut health better, because I got my insulin levels down, because I got all of the inflammation leaving my body, that joint stopped deteriorating and actually started rebuilding because I was focusing on giving my body nutrients. Now that knee doesn't have to be replaced. I've already had 2 hip replacements and 1 knee replacement. God only knows I never want to go through another joint replacement in my life. I just don't want to. That sucks. Hey, Louise. So here's the thing. People think of fiber as pooping, right? But we've got to start understanding how important fiber really is, because all of those things I just talked about, one of the key components for me was making sure that I was getting in fiber and addressing my gut health. You guys, the other thing besides joints, just random thoughts are coming in. So there is a direct axis between our gut and our brain called the gut-brain axis. We ignore it. Of course, what's going on in our gut affects what's going on our brain. So we have anxiety, we have depression, we have panic attacks, we have all this other stuff. Yeah, we all have stressful lives, but I'm going to tell you that we're not under any more stress today than we were 100 years ago. Stresses are just different. We have to look out for different things. We're more connected to electronics, which is destroying our brains. I get that, but there's a gut-brain axis. So we have to, if we want to take care of our brain, if we want to alleviate things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, anxiety, depression, all of that, we've got to take care of our guts. That's where it really begins, because our gut, again, creating a majority of our serotonin, holding a majority of our immune cells, and this direct pathway. So what the gut feels, the brain feels. The gut's inflamed and sick, the brain is inflamed and sick. Belching and heartburn. Denise, it could be just a little bit acidic for you. So here's a couple of things you can do. Because I honestly, with the tea, I also get a little bit of heartburn if I drink it too fast, because I have a highly acidic stomach. I'm Native American. So what I do, I'm going to mix it up like normal. This is the tea. I'm just going to rip the top off the top, and I'm going to put it in here. What I'm going to tell you is I would sip on it. I don't notice those problems when I drink it hot, to be honest. So it's getting to be fall. In another month, I will be having my tea hot in the mornings, but I just ripped the top off. We're just going to pour it in. So this is the tea she's talking about. You can add a little bit of salt to it. That's going to help with that heartburn and some of the belching. Again, it's probably your stomach being sick. How long have you been drinking the tea? So this is how we normally mix it up. What I like to do is put it in a mug this size. So 1.5 to 2 times the amount of water is how I drink it, Denise. And then I sip on it since February. Yeah. Let me do a little bit of research on that. But I'm going to tell you, 3 years in, if I drink it too quick and too strong, I will experience those same things, because I have an extremely acidic gut. And it just slow down how quickly you drink it, sip on it, and put more water in it. So when I drink it at this strength, I'm more likely to have some of that indigestion than when I drink it a little more watered down. So just add a little more water to it and sip on it. It will get you water it way down. Sip on it. So here's the other thing I do, Denise, because I'm going to talk about the tea. We're really talking about fiber today. This one's not mixed up yet. But the tea actually helps in this whole process. The tea helps us be more sensitive to sugars so that they're getting into our cell better and actually being used as energy. It's helping us in a fasted state with our HGH and our ketones, but it's also helping increase GLP-1, that thing that the pharma is trying to pump into you, and we can talk about that later. But what I do, Denise, a lot of times is I will have one of these. If I'm feeling like I'm just having a day where this is too acidic, um, then I will just have a balance alongside of it, and that helps. Okay, so you just joined and you want to know what it is. Go to my link up here, right under the red lights in my profile. There will be a link to buy. It's a system by Unicity, and it's two components: a fiber that I have before I eat, and a pre-meal or and a tea that I drink twice a day. So, and Denise, I actually drink this 2 to 3 times a day. Oftentimes in the morning in a fasted state is when I see that problem that you were talking about. So part of it, um, my nausea is worse because I have a weakened heart, and then I have an acidic gut. So I drink the fiber without even eating. Now, what I know now, and I didn't know in the beginning, is there are so many studies, and they call it metadata. They took all of these studies on fiber and they combined them. What I know now through these studies is that when I just drank this fiber, this continues to work in my gut. It continues. So I'm feeding my gut microbiome. That stuff is continuing to work and get healthier. And even if I was to eat in an hour from now, this would still have some effect. But it compounds over the hours in cleaning up the gut and getting that inflammation out. And now when I do eat, my body's more receptive to nutrients. It's more receptive to keeping some of that sugar locked away. And if I have another one, when I do eat at about 1 this afternoon, it's just going to compound those effects. Now, we haven't done studies yet on what happens with the compounded effects. I'm talking about those metadata studies where they used a single source fiber. Okay. So Denise, yeah. And you can call me if you want to, and we can talk and see if there's anything else. But salt, slow down, and then have the balance with it and see what that does for you. And it might not even take a full packet of balance. Denise, I like drinking the full packet of balance because I love fiber. Now that I know how much better it's made me feel, I love it. But you could divide your packet of fiber and just drink a half a packet in the mornings when you have your tea. What I want to tell you, Denise, is that fiber is not breaking your fast, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. I'm all about natural solutions, you guys. I don't like having the other stuff. And I kept saying I don't have anything else in the house outside of 1 bottle of NSAIDs now, no prescribed medications. And then I'm cleaning out my bathroom today because we're getting ready to move again. And I found an old bottle of Tums. And I'm like, ooh, ick, toss those. They actually make things worse. The balance, if I'm having acidicness, because I'm a keyed up person, autism, ADD, my brain is going all the time. And that does affect our gut. So the gut-brain axis doesn't just work one way, it works both ways. This helps, okay? This helps me with that acidic gut. And it doesn't break my fast. It actually helps for our purposes of insulin resistance. It helps me get more into that ketone burning state where my body goes, oh, yeah, this is what to do. I need ketones. I need to burn fat for fuel sometimes too. We're not meant to burn one source of fuel. We're meant to have 2, and we're meant to be able to switch between those. In today's world, we're eating so much food that's been stripped of fiber and turns into glucose too quickly that we're running on sugar all the time. We wonder why we're sugar addicted, because all of that's breaking down into glucose in our system, and we're training our brain, our body, that's how we're getting energy. Okay. So the interesting thing, you guys, is one of the interesting things for me in all of this is when we're that insulin resistant, right? When we have that high level of sugar and we've trained our body like that, we start to crave more. And so people are going in, and like I used to do Snickers. Steffi asked me yesterday, my favorite snack if I was out driving, because I used to drive Lyft and Uber all night long, was a Snickers bar, a bag of salt and vinegar chips, and a diet soda. because the diet had to be thrown in there, right? Um, and then I would actually feel more fatigued right away, and I was actually getting sicker. And that's because when we're running on sugar and we perceive we need energy, we're eating more sugar. But sugar was the cause of the rise of the insulin that's causing us to feel sick and tired in the first place. So all I'm doing is telling my body I need to create more insulin when I'm living on sugar, when I'm craving sugar, when I'm saying my energy levels dipped, I got to go eat a candy bar and get that immediate sugar. No, we don't. We need to figure out what's going on so that we have stable levels of energy. But part of your hunger is not just, oh, I'm hungry, my stomach is empty. How many of you guys feel like when you're experiencing hunger, there's, oh, hey, my stomach is empty. I need to put something in there. How many of you guys feel like that? Type a 1 or tap the hearts if you guys think that hunger is, yeah, my body needs this. My stomach is empty. I need to put something in there. That's why I'm hungry. So it's time to eat. Well, a lot of us, sorry, I missed a comment over here. So let me figure this out here. Wish you could reduce some weight to cure lessen my diabetes. I can't even say your name, so I'm going to say the last name, and I would love to have a conversation and figure out how to say your name. But the system that I'm talking about, Mystery, is what I did to cure all of that for me. It reversed my diabetes. It didn't just lessen it; it reversed it. I lost 55 pounds. And I reversed the hypertension that was damaging my heart. You guys, 30 years of extremely high hypertension. And of course, my heart's damaged. So now I'm working to fix that as well. This is why I'm here talking. Do not wait till you're where I am. I've lost 3 joints. I've lost my gallbladder. My heart is damaged. My eyesight got damaged. All of that because of diabetes and insulin resistance that no doctor talked to me about. I got to a point in my health history where I walked in with a list of stuff. Like, okay, because I'm in my mind, I'm hoping, like, if I give them all the symptoms, they're going to be able to pinpoint what this is, why I'm so sick. And so I'm taking in this list of symptoms to my doctor, and they're like, they're running in 6 different directions, trying to figure it out. And going, I don't know what to do. And then they say, just lose weight, you'll feel better. Okay, doc, if I could lose weight, I would have already done it. So diabetes, insulin resistance can actually be the basis of why you're gaining weight. And we need to address that in order to start feeling better. Fiber helps us address that. Not only is it moving the food through so that we're not having it built up and causing inflammation and reducing our immune system and reducing our serotonin, but it's just helping keep all of that inflammation down that starts in the gut and leaches out to the rest of the body. Why did my joints start lessening in inflammation? Because I got my sugars under control by utilizing fiber in the way that I'm meant to use it and started cutting back on my sugars. But to be honest, you guys, to lose the 55 pounds, I didn't do crazy stuff. I've been doing different stuff now as I'm trying to learn to expand on my health. But in the beginning, when I was where you guys are today, I was driving Lyft and Uber every night from about 9 p.m. to 6 or 7 a.m. And then the app would shut off and I'd have to go home. And the only thing that was open at that time, because it was in the pandemic, was like McDonald's or Jack in the Box. Oftentimes the gas station interiors were closed. So there wasn't even a place for me to run, use the restroom or any of that. And so I had to grab food between rides when I could, which was usually about 3 a.m. at Jack in the Box or McDonald's. And I still lost 55 pounds, reversed my diabetes, and got everything under control. Now, is it what I want you to do? No, but I'm just telling you, you can start addressing it now without any crazy things going on. Address your insulin and start feeling better. And the proven method that I've done is just these 2 teas that I have in the day. I'm going to explain this to you in a minute. And this fiber that I drink before I eat. Now, we went from 1 tea and 2 fibers just this last year to 2 tea and 1 fiber. That's caused some angst in the community because a lot of people are like, I still need my 2 fibers. I'm one of them, you guys. You can buy an extra box of fiber if you want to do what I do. But why we made the switch is we did more research about the Unimate, the chlorogenic acids, the components in the Unimate. And what we found is that not only is it helping boost our mood, but this particular tea, that drug, Mounjaro, Ozempic, tirzepatide, all of those things, GLP-1 agonists, glucagon-like peptide 1 agonists, that are helping this increases your own production of GLP-1 by about 70%. This particular tea, not every yerba mate tea, this one. So now it's giving me satiety in my brain and in my gut. So both of them are like, woohoo, we're full. And so I'm not hungry all the time, but it's helping build mood and mental energy and clarity. It's giving me more physical endurance and stamina and production. Like I wish I would have known about this when I was a power lifter. I lifted in a drug tested federation, won world championship 4 times. Had to be really careful about everything I put in my mouth. I was still insulin resistant. I was still losing joints, not from the lifting, from the insulin resistance. But had I had a 10% boost in what my body could do by addressing those things, wow, the records that I set would have been still holding today. I look at the numbers that I posted during those years and I'm like, wow, a 10% increase in those numbers would have been tremendous. I won gold at every one I went to, but this would have been a boon for me. Not popping me on a drug test because it's real food and allowing me that kind of extra stamina, energy, and performance is great. So the tea does a lot for us, but as far as insulin resistance, it's helping us in a fasted state kick out ketones. It's helping us become more sensitive, allowing the sugars that we do eat into the cells. Why is that important? Because insulin resistance really means that we're resistant to getting energy in the cells. So you feel tired, you have brain fog, your body has aches and pains because none of your cells are getting the energy it's supposed to. I shouldn't say none of. A majority of the cells are not getting the energy they need. Insulin is the transport that takes that energy to the cell, and insulin is almost like a key. All the cells have these little insulin receptors on them. But when they get inflamed, those insulin receptors are starting to be buried in all this inflammation, and then they're just not working right anyway. So now insulin comes along to the cell, and it can't access these receptors or unlock the door to allow the energy in. So now you're feeling hungry and tired. You have brain fog. You can't find thoughts clearly. You can't remember names. Maybe you can't remember something you just learned. You're feeling stressed and depleted. And that's because of insulin resistance, where the cells are not getting in energy. You're eating more, trying to get energy in the cells, and yet we can't because insulin is not working properly. Maria, yes, and information as all the impurities we carry. Thank you for saying it like that. Sure. So, you guys, I want you to know, I did a video in response to a guy yesterday, right? All those toxins. And actually, as I was washing my hair this morning, I was thinking about it. How many years? This has nothing to do with the protocol I do. This has nothing to do with that. It has to do with extended health, right? So if you're interested in the protocol, just go to my link in my profile and find it there. But all of those toxins, and Dr. Pompa, his program is like $7,000-8,000. But if you can afford it, it might be worth doing that too. It's not just the insulin, it does have to do with all the toxins. So becoming more sensitive to insulin can also be getting rid of toxins. You guys, when we look at all the cleaners we use, I'm washing my hair, right? This morning I'm washing my hair. I'm thinking, like, I've bought natural solutions for hair care even. And I thought, gosh, like all those times I colored my hair. See my grays? This is my natural hair color. All the times that I colored my hair, all the stuff that I put on my head, and my head is right next to my brain. I'm putting all this toxic crap on my head because it makes my hair look good, but it's destroying my health. Lotions and perfumes that we're using that have all these toxins in them, all the stuff. You guys, we are inundated in toxins. It's part of the reason I do a cleanse twice a year, just to help my cells get cleaned up and start functioning better. And since I've done it, even my kids have noticed that my skin health looks better. Yeah, I have wrinkly skin. I'm 60. I have a little bit of wrinkles on my skin. It looks different than it did when I was 20, but my skin, and I've always had really fine skin, looks better, right, Maria? All those toxins just soak in. So it's not just what we're taking in internally, you guys, the system is great for the internal stuff. But I agree with Maria. I'm going to say that on the exterior, we need to pay attention to what we're doing to our skin. So now what I use on my skin is castor oil, coconut oil, or shea butter. And I'm actually going to start making my own lotions at home because I just don't want all those toxins in my skin. Those toxins that cause inflammation and inflammation. So let's talk about it. Let's just talk about that. So from the outside in, not to do with insulin, but linking in with insulin, when we have all of these toxins leaching in through our skin, through all this environmental stuff, it's causing cellular damage, oxidative stress, inflammation in the cells. Now, what happens when we're already having too much insulin and cells are already at risk and insulin is carrying too much energy to the cell, those cells are shutting down because they're like, I'm sick. I have all this inflammation. I have all this oxidation that wasn't caused by sugar, but now we're adding sugar on top of it. And they're like, if you bring that energy into this cell, it's going to feed the sickness. I can't take in that energy. Now we're even more insulin resistant. So yeah, it's like a wide array of things. But the easiest way to deal with it is to get to the gut, clean up our gut, and start to find a way to better health. So Louise, yes, and hormone disruptors. All those toxicities are hormone disruptors. One of the biggest hormone disruptors is going to be this elevated level of insulin. So I call insulin, like insulin is such a great thing for us, obviously, because we have type 1 diabetics who are suffering because they can't produce it. We need it. We need it, but we need it to function properly. When insulin is out of control, as in insulin resistance, I like to call it a bully because insulin takes precedence over all your other hormones. It affects how we produce estrogen. It affects how we do our androgens. It affects leptin and ghrelin and cortisol and thyroid hormones. So our insulin being out of control makes all of those other things start to have problems too. And to get those results, and you're in Dubai, Yuchenzo, we have an office in Dubai. So the same link that everyone here is using, you use that link, and my link is driven by your IP address. So if you click on my link and you open it up and you're in Dubai, it's going to open up the website for Dubai or the UAE, and you're going to be able to order right there. So if you go to my profile, tap on my picture up or on my link up above, it'll bring up a white box, and then we'll show you what that looks like. You're going to get to my profile, and this is my profile, right? So I don't know why my picture's not up there. I have red glasses on, and I did have my hair colored, which I don't do anymore because the more I learn about these environmental toxins, the more I want to take care of those as well. So yeah, I don't know why it's taking my picture down, but you're going to get to my profile. You're going to see red light symbols. Right under the red light symbols is this link. You click on that link, and that's going to take you to my landing page. Now, you guys, on my landing page, there are some options here. You can just either order the protocol that I'm talking about, and then when that order goes through with my link, I see it. We'll use WhatsApp. My picture is there on yours, but it's just not on mine. So, and I need to switch that picture to this one because this looks more like me now. So you can either order the protocol. As I said, it doesn't matter where you're at. I have people in Ireland, in France, in the UAE. I actually have customers in the UAE, in the Pacific Rim. So there's people all over, and we have manufacturing and facilities in about 8 different places in the world. So it's not just always coming from the US. You get it from someplace that's near you. So there's that. Now, you can order the protocol. You can go to my website, read more about my story and the stuff that I do, and more about the system. You can contact me on WhatsApp. The second one, when you order, I'm going to see that. I'm going to start sending you messages. And then we can talk on WhatsApp. We can call, and I can help you through things. I was just on a call with somebody from Romania the other day. So use the WhatsApp link, you guys. I actually do get on calls, but you got to text me first because oftentimes I'm in meetings or on things like this. And when I break away, then I try to call people back. So do that. And then my health blog. You guys, this blog I created for you, because I had so many people asking me about this information that I give, and people wanting to go back and see it. So you can see all of the stuff that I've been all of these live streams are permanently housed on YouTube. Because when I go live here, I'm also on YouTube. So you can go to YouTube and rewatch at some point. But if you want to read more about some of the topics I've talked about, go to my blog. And you're going to see things like I did one on intermittent fasting. I have one on the phantasmia that I was talking about the other day. Where phantom smells, which is unusual, but there's all of these things. PCOS. Obviously, I need to update this. There's anyway, all of these, you'll see that there are topics. So if you're just wanting, and it's just getting built. So if you're more interested in brain than anything else, just go to the brain, and then it's going to start pulling up the articles that are there, and there will be more added. And then you can read all of the information that I talk about here. And the citations, by the way, the citations for this information are included in these blog posts. So if you're that kind of person and you want to go read the citations where I get the information, it's all here too. Okay. So there's that, but ordering is easy. You just go to that first link and it's going to take you right to the order. So look, when you order, it should take you, it's going to verify that you're human. We've had, like any other company, we've had problems with this lately. So you're going to go to the order page. What the things I want you to notice are, we are on the official page of the company. This is the only way you're going to get those guarantees. It's the only way that you're going to get the 90-day money-back guarantee, the quality guarantee, and the low price guarantee. And it's the only way you're going to get the coaching from me is to use that link. So you want to make sure it has my name at the top, which you'll see there. And then you're just going to click buy now. When you get to the buy now, I want you to know that there are different choices. In the UAE, it may look different, and I don't have access to that website because my IP address is here in the US. But here in the US, we have a choice between lemon or lemon ginger for the tea. So this is what your package is going to include. 90 or 60 of the tea, 30 of the balance. You get to choose which flavor you want. Lemon, lemon ginger. Lemon tastes like a lemon iced tea. Lemon ginger has ginger extract, so it has a definite touch of ginger in there, but ginger is amazing for your metabolism and your brain. So if you like ginger, do that one, or you can get a box of each right here. Okay. Then on the balance, the pre-meal drink, this one that thickened up, look at how thick that is now. That's what's happening in my gut. Actually, the gut enzymes are activating this even more. So now I have this really coating, soothing matrix in my gut that's not only helping calm down the acids in my gut, but it's helping my nausea, and it's feeding those good probiotics in my gut. So if you're just taking probiotics and you're not feeding them, we have a problem. Okay, so now you get to choose. We have mixed berry in this, and I'll be getting some this next month. I had some before, but they just this last month made the mixed berry available permanently. So it has a nice light berry flavor to it, like a creamy berry flavor. You get to choose. Then what I want to show you though, you guys, to reduce a prostate. So what I can tell you is, and how about I talk about that on Monday, because I haven't talked about men's health a lot. There is a link between your prostate enlargement and erectile dysfunction and insulin resistance. And so, because I don't want to misspeak today, I will go back, because I usually address erectile dysfunction, I address testosterone levels, but that all has to do with your prostate. Okay, so I will get more direct answers on your prostate, and we'll talk about that on Monday, Chenzo. Or and then you can look for videos. I'll get a video up because that seems like an interesting one. Let me write it down so I don't forget. You guys, ADD, if it's in front of me, I'll remember it. That's why I always had all my medications sitting on the counter. If I put it in a drawer, I'll forget that it's even there. Okay, so what you're going to see here, but I'm going to tell you, Chenzo, that addressing your insulin without giving you all the mechanisms and all the sciencey stuff, addressing your insulin can positively impact prostate problems. If we're talking about the word that I'm never supposed to use, cancers, but I'm going to do it, we also want to understand that insulin resistance causes inflammation and causes a hypoxia in areas that that creates an environment for cancer to grow really rapidly. And so we're talking about things like prostate cancer. We're talking about things like ovarian cancer, colorectal cancer, stomach cancers, breast cancers, all of that internal stuff. I'm not talking about skin cancer so much, but this can help prevent. It's a preventative. I'm not going to tell you that this is going to stop your cancer in its tracks, but understanding the mechanisms of which cancer happens in your body is going to help you. And this system can help get all of that healthy for you, Chenzo. So look, if you buy it in the US, it's $169 for the month. So that's 90 packets for the month. But if you put it on subscription, you guys, it always blows my mind. You guys get to make your choices. Please hear me on this. Do the subscription. What's going to happen with the subscription is this: you can cancel it at any time. Like, I get it. When I started, I thought this was too much money for me to spend every month. Now it's the one thing I make sure I get every month. And I don't have to worry about that anymore, by the way. But if you do the subscription, you're going to save $10 off the product. Now it's $159. When you do the subscription, they also don't change the vitiligo. Didi, I just did that talk the other day, but let's talk about vitiligo again. And there is a high correlation between insulin resistance and vitiligo. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But if you do the subscription, you're saving $10 off the product, and then you don't pay shipping. So here in the US, that shipping can run from $10 to this year with all the inflation, it's about $15. So for me, when I look at that, just by putting it on subscription, I'm saving $25 a month. Why would you ever spend more? Please understand that you can cancel that at any time. There's no reason to do a one time. You get a 5-day email before it ships out. We're not like a company that goes, oh, hey, you put it on subscription. That's up to you. We're going to just send it. You'll get an email 5 days out that says, hey, good news, your order is ready to come out. It's going to be processed in about 5 days. So Chenzo, I will message you here on TikTok. Let me screenshot this. Whoops. I shut myself down. Okay, I'm going to screenshot your name so I can find you later, and then I will message you. You can find me on WhatsApp too, but I'll send you the link directly, Chenzo, and see if you can get it that way. There, you got me. Okay, perfect. So then we can talk after this live or however you need. Now, again, you're going to save about $25. You can cancel it at any time. We give you a 5-day notice. You're not like just, oh, shoot, there's this charge that came out of my credit card or my bank account or whatever. You get fair warning. So if something is happening and it's not the right time, maybe you need to put it off for a few days. Maybe you want it a few days earlier. You can go in and change that date, or you can go cancel that subscription at any time. But when you order, if you put that on subscription, you're not going to pay that extra $25 that you don't need to pay. Okay, so let's go back to this page. Chenzo, I really look forward to talking to you. I really do enjoy talking to people about all this stuff. So this is me, you guys. You guys have been looking at this picture all morning. So that's me, okay? But more than just me, I want to show you a few other things. So when we look at this is my beautiful friend Alexis. Now, she didn't have diabetes, but she had a family history of diabetes. So she was really worried because she was watching people drop out of her family and leave loved ones way too early. And she didn't want that. She has small children. She was a little overweight, not diagnosed as diabetic yet. She found the system and was like, I don't want this for my family. I want to stop this in my family. She went from a size 14 to a size 6 by using this program. Now, it's not meant to be weight loss. Weight loss is a side effect, but it's the one thing people cling to the most is weight loss. Dee, if you're still here, I will talk about vitiligo in a second. Now, and people always say, but I'm not fat. I don't need this. This is my good friend Christy, who's also a physical trainer. We met at the gym. I was doing powerlifting. She was doing bodybuilding, obviously. She trains bodybuilders as well. This is not the person I was talking about earlier. But behind the scenes, none of us knew that she had diabetes. None of us knew that she was struggling with her health. She's writing food programs. She's, writing training programs. She has champions on her list. She's a champion herself. Beautiful, beautiful woman. But in this first picture, this is her in off season in prep. not in a cut mode, not in anything. You can see the swelling in her. You can see the fullness in her face, in all of her muscles covered up. The same point in prep season, um, prep, she went from that picture on the left to now you can see more definition in her. Her face is thinned down. All of that swelling is gone off of her body. Same point in prep. She's just on the system now. She's reversed her diabetes. Her IBS has improved. Her inflammation is gone. She's reduced her anxiety and increased her energy. Um, Oops, that's the same picture. So then this lovely woman who messages me almost daily, and I love you dearly. She, I met through the system. This on the left was her before, and then this is an older picture. She's lost even more than that now, but she was able to address her diabetes, her hypertension. She's lost about 60 pounds. Her anxiety is better. Her depression is better. Her chronic fatigue is gone, and her joint pain is much better. Now, she's also a smoker. So when people are like, but I do this, but I'm this age, but I that, but I, we're all dealing with the same stuff in our health, and we're all dealing with an imperfect food environment. Yes, she's a smoker. It makes it harder for her because smoking increases insulin resistance. It's a whole topic I haven't talked about. And she knows that, but at her point in life, she's not ready to give up smoking. She still has been able to lose the weight, reverse her insulin resistance as a smoker, living an imperfect life, and she's doing fantastic. I thought I had some other pictures in here. Let's switch over to this one. So these are some of the same people. I'm just updating my slides. So let's find. There's Christy. This is Jason. Jason is my little warrior. He has lost 190 pounds now. His A1C is like 5.8 now, and it came down from 13.3. He had hypertension. He had hyperlipidemia. He was suffering with sleep apnea. He was suffering with erectile dysfunction. He was suffering with testosterone dysregulation. All of that has gotten better. His doctor wanted him to do those jabs for weight loss. His doctor wanted him to then, because he refused the jabs, wanted him to go have surgery. And he was like, not doing that either. And then he found me. We had a talk. He started the system, and he is more vibrant. He is happier. He's about half the size person that he used to be. And he's thriving. And his doctors are like, what did you do? And they get really, really mad when he tells them that he just did the system and addressed his insulin resistance, because they weren't able to throw out a drug at him or get a referral bonus for sending him to a surgeon, right? So this is Cindy. Cindy's now lost over 150 pounds. She was not clinically diabetic. She was maybe pre-diabetic. Her A1C was 5.9. It's now at least 5.5. But more importantly, she had the signs of insulin resistance, weight gain, some of the other things. All of this happens before you get diagnosed with diabetes or prediabetes. So come tell me I don't have diabetes. Come tell me I'm not heavy, because you saw Christy. If you're suffering with a number of the issues that I'll list here in a minute, you are likely insulin resistant and you need to address it. And this is the same system I'm doing as all these people did. And I want to talk a little bit about fat today, but maybe not, because I need to talk about vitiligo again. This is Karen. Now, Karen wasn't as heavy as Cindy, but her A1C was huge. That's where the fat comes in. Maybe we'll talk about that next week too. But she's reversed her diabetes. Her A1C at this point was at 6.5, but now it's down around 5.6 as well. She's been on the system for about a year and a half. She's lost over 40 pounds now, and she's just feeling much better. She looks freaking amazing. Such a beautiful woman. Okay, and then my good friend Steph. You guys see her live a lot, Steph Coke 1111. She used to tell me, I don't have an amazing story. Now she looks back and she sees her pictures and she recognizes where she was, and she's like, oh my God, I have an amazing story. She's lost 40 pounds. She gained 4-pack abs without ever doing a sit-up. She has ADHD. I've watched her transition. We've been friends for years. And her mental, I'm going to call it stability, as in the ADHD not controlling her as bad, is so much better now that she's addressed her insulin resistance. But she also had ADHD or heartburn. And so her heartburn has gotten better the more, again, when your gut is inflamed, you're having problems. Now, Dia is a cancer survivor. Dia had a number of issues going on. This was her in the beginning, and this is her now on the system. Dia loves the system so much that 4 family members, she has 4 family members, that are doing the system, including her 13-year-old son. But Dia herself had great results, and she's lost over 50 pounds. Her husband uses it. He's lost a tremendous amount of weight. Their family looks fantastic. This young man, type 1 diabetic, okay? Do we reverse type 1 diabetes? No, I'm not making that claim. Do we help type 1 diabetes? Yes, because even they become insulin resistant, just like you and I. So if it's a factor of, and why is that? Let's talk about why that is, you guys. So when we look at insulin resistance and we think diabetes, and you're like, oh, but I'm type 1 diabetic, that doesn't apply to me. Yes, it does. Because if the body is resistant to insulin, it's resistant to insulin. A type 1 diabetic just doesn't have all the problems of overloading your pancreas and stuff that type 2 diabetics have. They have to inject insulin. But when they're constantly injecting insulin or using a pump to address their insulin needs every time they eat, their cells become resistant just like us. Okay. So we just need to know that that is a root cause. Our food is really the root cause of the insulin resistance. That's the root cause of all of our health disorders. Our food is what's wrong. And what's happened is we've just stripped out enzymes, nutrients that we need to be able to function properly in our bodies and in our lives. Okay. So yes, children can use it. Now, I'm going to go back to this picture right here. Okay, so again, that was me, right? That was me when I started the system. I had excess weight under my neck. I had sleep apnea as a result. I had this big bulging belly. I had joints that didn't want to work, joints that were failing. I had to have a walker and a cane and disability plates. My blood pressure was out of control. I had skin tags. I had dark skin patches. I always wore long sleeves because I was embarrassed by the dark skin patches on my elbows. And I was miserable. I love people and I love interactions with people. And so I walked around and tried to look happy and all of that. But inside, I was dying, literally dying. And so this is me now. Okay. And all I did was nothing crazy. I just addressed my insulin resistance. Okay. Vitiligo. I'm not going to give as good an explanation as I did yesterday, but what I found is this, just like I talked about phantom smells yesterday and a little bit about vitiligo. Now, vitiligo is a skin discoloration issue. So it's going to be, I'm going to pull up, I'm trying to get to the stuff that I'm actually wanting to pull up. Guys, I have so many ADD. I have so many windows open that it traumatizes people. In fact, I had one doctor that I worked for who just got really upset at me because she couldn't handle the way my desk looked because I always have I have to if it's not out, I can't see it. Anyway, vitiligo is a melanin disorder and it shows up more in people with darker skin. Okay, so you'll see it where people, and you've seen it here on TikTok, ladies doing makeup tutorials and ladies embracing their vitiligo and not covering it up and all of that. But what it is the body's inability to produce melanin in certain areas. Now, research is still looking at it, but intermittent fasting and the Feel Great system are showing to be, according to the research I did, a promising approach to helping with that vitiligo. We understand that things like melasma and that acanthosis nigricans, or this dark skin patches. I am native, so I would get these really dark skin patches because there's enough melanin in my body for those to happen. And I had dark rings around my neck. Insulin resistance messes with how that melanin is produced. Now, in somebody with acanthosis nigricans or melasma, what's happening is we're hyperproducing melanin in some areas. And so it shows up in those dark skin patches for us. With vitiligo, you're actually having a reduction of melanin produced in certain areas. Now, the interesting thing I found was that although they haven't directly said, oh, hey, insulin resistance can cause vitiligo, it's very highly linked. So whether it happens to be the genetic pool, the ethnicity, because there are about 5 ethnicities that are more likely to become insulin resistant than the Caucasian ones, but insulin resistance is showing up in higher rates in people with vitiligo. So insulin resistance and diabetes develops more quickly in people with vitiligo. So one of the things that I looked at as science is doing their research, and it's going to take time for them to be able to really address that, right? And who knows if how much they're really wanting to dive in, because there are so many other issues they're looking at with insulin resistance. But in my mind, what I think of when I see those links, when I understand that people with vitiligo have higher prevalence of insulin resistance and diabetes, then my immediate response to that is it's worth a try to get your insulin resistance under control. See if you can balance out that melanin being produced in your skin and see some relief from that discoloration in your skin. Because now, when the cells are getting in proper energy, they can produce the components that you need much easier. And that would be my approach to it. And DD, here's the thing with all of these linked disorders, what I like to tell people is this: I can't guarantee you that this is going to be the cure for you. I can tell you that I absolutely 100% believe, after reading the research, that this could help, and that any possibility for help like that would be worth it. And backed on top of that, you have this 90-day money back guarantee. So is this something that you're going to drink for 30 days and your vitiligo is going to be gone? No, it's not. It's not. Is this something you're going to drink for 30 days and your diabetes is going to be gone? No, it's not. Your body has been damaged through years and years of improper nutrition, not necessarily because you ate improper foods, but just the whole system we're in. Our food is not giving us what we need. So 90 days, DD, just give it 90 days and see how much better your health is, and if the vitiligo gets better. And look at DD, I would love nothing more than for you to do this for 90 days, see reduction in your vitiligo, and now we can actually, first person from real results and not just the science that's building, say, hey, look, this person did this, and this could be an answer for that condition. So Dee, you're so very welcome, and I'm glad I could help. We're going to talk Monday about prostate, erectile dysfunction, metabolic infertility, because insulin resistance is linked to all of those. So thanks you guys for all the questions. I love being able to help you and give answers. And even more, when you guys ask me things like about phantasmia or phantom smells or vitiligo or prostate, things that I don't normally talk about, it stretches me. It allows me to go find stuff that other people care about. I generally talk about the things that I suffered from because it hits close to home, and it's where I've done most of my research to figure out what happened with me. But when you guys ask these questions, it's not only just giving me something to feed off of, to me, the research to go do that I love to do, me to do all of that, it's helping somebody else. Because DD, if we can help address this for you simply with food products, what a great thing would that be for all the other men and women, and especially women, because women suffer from vitiligo more than men. How much relief would that give people suffering with that? You guys, vitiligo, I don't have a picture up, and I've spoken to a number of people, but it's like it can be really embarrassing for them, and we don't perceive it because our brains are not seeing an even color, and so it's just something that people would rather not have to deal with, and it's very, very visible. It doesn't make them a bad person or wrong or anything. It just is. When other people don't understand something, it can become very embarrassing and hurtful for those of us suffering with it. Like when I had a disability plate, people couldn't look at me and see my disability. They didn't know that I couldn't hardly walk because I'm tough. So I put on a brave face and I make it through whatever I had to go through. And then I'd go home and just hibernate because I was just so worn out, not only from the physical pain, but from the emotional stress of just trying to fit in a world that doesn't understand differences. Okay. So I look forward to trying to help you, Dee, and see what we can do. You guys, I gotta hop off. I'm getting messages like, "Where are you? You're supposed to be calling me." Blah blah, and that's great. I love calling people, so I'm not whining about it. We'll see you guys Monday. I do want to say today, those of you who are still here, I'm probably going to be changing up my live stream schedule. So I'll go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the morning with this. I do want to start talking about what I do for a living and opportunities and how you do that. So I'll go live on Tuesday, Thursday evenings, and we'll talk about how I was able to 5x my income and help people and change my family's history and my family's outlook and the belief in what they think that they're worth and have. And you know what? When we thrive, those around us find hope that they can thrive too. And that's what this is all about. So we'll see you guys Monday. We're going to talk about prostate. We're going to talk about more stuff about insulin resistance, and we'll see you then. You guys have a beautiful weekend. I haven't done this for a while. This weekend, please put your phones down for a little while. Engage. If you have a true weekend, engage with your family, engage with your friends. If you're out to dinner, put the phone away. If you're sitting home, put the phone down. Drop it in a drawer somewhere. You don't need to be looking at it all the time. You need to be looking at and focusing on the people around you who love you and chose time to spend time with you. You're going to find insulin resistance that when you start to address your emotions and how you live and relax and the joy you find out of life, that's actually has a positive impact on cortisol, which has a positive impact on insulin resistance. So love you all. We'll see you Monday. Have a great day. And thanks, you guys. I'm going to drop in the link over here on Facebook and YouTube so you can come back and find it. Oh, all of my electronics are going off today. Now, you guys over here on Facebook and YouTube, if you have questions, because I know I predominantly am on live on TikTok, use the link, reach out to me via WhatsApp, just like Chenzo is going to do, and let's see if we can help you. Look, if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. At least use the information I give to help you along and get better. And we'll see you.